What is the simplified form of the expression state any excluded values? So one thing I want us to pay attention to in these next few examples is we want to make sure each polynomial is in standard form first before we do any simplification or excluded values. So for example, here in part A, this denominator is not in standard form. It should actually be negative 2x plus 5. So now that I've put that denominator in standard form, I'm going to look for my excluded values. Negative 2x plus 5 cannot equal 0. Negative 2x cannot equal negative 5 if I subtract. So x cannot equal positive 5 over 2. So now my numerator, I can't factor anything out. If you want to look at it, we have a 1 as a GCF. And now remember, when you have a negative leading coefficient, your GCF should be negative. And so I have a negative 1 I can factor out of that denominator, and that leaves 2x minus 5. Now those common binomials can cancel out, and I'm left with 1 divided by negative 1, which is negative 1. So writing in standard form is important. Let's move on to part B. First, I'm going to rewrite this. My denominator is not in standard form. It should be negative y plus 4. So now if I look for my excluded values, negative y plus 4 cannot equal 0. Negative y cannot equal negative 4 if I subtract 4. Dividing by a negative, y cannot equal 4. That is my excluded value. So now my numerator is a difference of squares, y plus 4, y minus 4. And once again here I have a negative leading coefficient, so I'm going to factor out a negative 1 GCF from my denominator, and that's going to leave y minus 4. And now this common binomial factor can cancel, and we're left with y plus 4 divided by negative 1, which if I divide each term by the negative is also equal to negative y minus 4. So either one of these answers is acceptable. So the last one I want to try on this page is part C. We know that for our excluded values, 6d squared plus d minus 1 cannot equal 0. I am going to do a times c splits my b here. Two numbers that multiply to make negative 6 and add to make 1 are 3d minus 2d, and we'll bring down that first and last term grouping. GCF is 3d. GCF here is negative 1, and they both pop out a binomial GCF of 2d plus 1. When I factor out that binomial GCF, 3d minus 1 is left. So I know 2d plus 1 cannot equal 0, or 3d minus 1 cannot equal 0. So d cannot equal negative 1/2 or positive 1/3. Those are my two critical values. So now, oops, I forgot to rewrite my numerator in standard form. It should be negative 9d plus 3, and that's being divided by 2d plus 1 divided by 3d minus 1. Now, since we have this negative leading coefficient, I should factor out a negative 3 GCF, and that is going to leave 3d minus 1. and my denominator still factored falls below. So this common binomial GCF cancels out, and we're left with negative 3 over 2d plus 1, as long as d does not equal negative 1/2 or 1/3. So here's another one you can try on your own. For your excluded values, z cannot equal positive or negative 1, and your answer is negative 3 over 2 times z plus 1. So go ahead and try that one for practice and see if you can get that answer.